Your internet filtering software from Lightspeed Systems includes the ability to create customized web zones. These web zones are like virtual rooms that teachers create and manage. Students can request to join these web zones by navigating to a web page in their browser. Within these zones, any teacher authorized as a web zone administrator can specify rules for what websites the students can or cannot access. Teachers can even override existing content filtering rules. So, let's say you were teaching a unit on how special effects are produced in movies. You may have 5 websites that you would like your 5th graders to use for research, but 2 of them are blocked by the content filter. Instead of going to your IT staff for help, now you can take matters into your own hands and add the 2 sites to a web zone. Once a student has joined that web zone, the rules will now be applied to their browsing session. Open zones are created on the fly. They are called open simply because authorized teachers can create them at any time, from anywhere, and students can request access to those zones when the zone is active. This functionality differs from a fixed zone in that fixed zones apply to specific IPs or IP address ranges. If a teacher or student is within one of these IP ranges, as set up by the IT staff, the users are automatically placed into that zone and do not have the option to leave. To manage your open zones, the web zone administrator simply opens a web browser and navigates to a local network address provided by your IT staff. Log in using your regular network credentials. Once you are logged in, you can create a new web zone. Let's call this one Special Effects in Movies. Whenever an open web zone is created, the zone is automatically activated, as noted by this button. You'll see we have a user management panel containing lists for pending user requests and joined users. Your students will have access to a web page where they can request to join an active web zone. I will show that process in a few moments. Right below the user's management panel are the domain rules. Let's add the 2 sites that are normally blocked by the content filter that we would like our students to have access to. Essentially, you are expanding your students' normal access rights to include these 2 additional sites, so you don't have to enter all 5 sites you want them to use, only the ones that are normally blocked. However, let's say you want to help your students stay on task. We can enter all 5 websites and select the Block All Domains Except for Allowed list. This restricts the use of the internet to only the 5 sites located in the allowed text box. Here's an important note. Your web zone rules are not displayed to the students. So if you've limited their access to a few sites, you'll need to provide these web addresses separately, maybe with the assignment or on your whiteboard. Your students will open a web browser and navigate to the Join Request page provided by your IT staff. You may want to bookmark this page on each computer or have a shortcut on the desktop. From this page, students will be asked for their first and last names, and for the name of the web zone you wish for them to join. When the user begins to type in the name of the web zone, it will auto-populate with all active web zones. Once a student has sent the join request, they will not be allowed to attempt to join another zone until the teacher takes action upon that request. You'll see here on the zone management page that a user request of request type join request requires my action. Once I allow that student to join the zone, they are admitted and the browsing rules of the zone are applied to them. Students wishing to leave the zone for any reason can submit a leave request from the same page. The system knows that they are already joined to a zone and prompts them with the appropriate action. Again, once the student submits the request to leave the zone, the teacher sees a request type of leave request and can release the student from the zone. It is important to note that users can be joined to just one web zone at a time. Finally, to demonstrate a fixed web zone, If your administrator has set up a fixed web zone for a range of IP addresses, things go a little differently. For instance, students don't have to request to join or leave a zone since they're accessing the internet from within that fixed range of IPs. If you log in from within that IP range, it will simply be placed immediately into that zone. The teacher can still manage the domain rules and activate and deactivate the zone when needed.